The real challenge for a backyard breeder isn't just keeping your flocks alive, but preserving the invaluable genetic heritage handed down by the pioneers of the homestead. Seeing purebred chicks hatch and collecting flawless eggs brings a massive sense of satisfaction. A single crossing mistake ruins years of color selection and destroys traditional bloodlines. Today, we'll dive deep into the majestic Wyandotte breed, a true poultry monument, and explore the 9 varieties accepted by the American Poultry Association, alongside those hidden gems that captivate our community. Understanding the genetics behind each color is an absolute technical necessity. Mastering these genes gives you total control over your farm and lets you utilize sex-linked crosses, where the down-on-a-day-old chick reveals the males and females without invasive methods. This separates the amateur from the true preservationist. Join me as we break down the genetic map, the hardiness, and the living history of these birds, so you can take the reins of your breeding program with authority. Let's begin. Number 1. The masterpiece of the traditional homestead, Silver Laced Wyandotte. Their primal roots take us back to the chicken yards of New York in the late 19th century, where breeders faced the challenge of stabilizing an unprecedented pattern. After decades of selectively crossing dark Brahmas and silver Hamburgs, they locked in the color and earned their official entry into the American Poultry Association in 1883. This cemented their official status and laid the groundwork for the entire Wyandotte family. Their plumage exhibits a fascinating genetic map, where the dominant silver gene, known as the S gene, interacts with modifiers to create a pure white center in every feather surrounded by intense black lacing. Their iconic rose comb, hugging close to the skull, prevents frostbite during harsh winters, which cements their status as a natural survivor. The silver gene represents a precious genetic tool for the community. Showcased in spectacular fashion by the black lacing, it facilitates sex-linked crosses with gold males. By executing this cross, the chick down lets you visually separate males and females naturally, so you can perpetuate bloodlines with absolute control from day one. They're robust birds, hitting a standard of 8.5 pounds for the rooster and 6.5 pounds for the hen. They've got an enviably docile temperament, coexisting in harmony with the breeder, and showing an excellent capacity for free ranging. They reach sexual maturity at 24 weeks and kick off a generous laying cycle. They produce nearly 200 eggs a year, which stand out for their size and beautiful brown shell tones. They've got a natural propensity for broodiness, showing an instinctive dedication to incubating and raising their chicks the traditional way. Their productive lifespan exceeds 7 years, meaning they'll be a reliable part of your flock for seasons to come. Preserving this foundational bloodline is a point of pride for exhibitors, connecting new generations with traditional poultry farming. Number 2. The golden camouflage of the forest, Golden Laced Wyandotte. The pioneers sought to replicate the perfection of the laced pattern using a warm base, crossing silver hens with deep red-plumaged roosters. The result of this technical effort achieved acceptance in the American Poultry Association in 1888. Their genetic composition is a spectacle dictated by the presence of the recessive gold gene, which replaces the white center of the feathers with a deep mahogany tone and keeps the black lacing intact. Just like the rest of the family, they boast that compact rose comb that prevents damage from extreme freezing during frigid nights in the winter fields. These dark colors act as a highly valuable natural camouflage for free ranging, protecting the birds from predators while they scratch through the brush of the rustic homestead. This instinctive camouflage capacity reduces losses from hawk and fox attacks, which ensures greater survival on farms lacking daytime confinement. They've got the same heavy build, with roosters projecting an imposing presence tipping the scales at 8.5 pounds and stable hens locking in at 6.5 pounds. They're undeniably tranquil, getting along perfectly with the flock and the families who enjoy watching them forage. Sexual maturity arrives between 5 and 6 months when the hens start hitting the nesting boxes, laying firm, dark brown eggs. Their productive yield surpasses 200 eggs a year with enviable consistency. Their maternal instinct blossoms every spring, making them exceptional mothers who fiercely shelter their chicks. They live between 6 and 8 years under diligent care and offer a longevity that rewards the breeder's effort. Owning this golden pattern safeguards a key piece of the genetic mosaic and ensures that this rustic beauty keeps adorning family farms. Number 3. The Snow Fortress and its genetic warning, White Wyandotte. Born from spontaneous mutations in silver flocks, breeders polish this variety searching for a meat bird with immaculate yellow skin. Its purity of line was secured through its entry into the American Poultry Association in 1888, dominating production in the early 20th century. Since they lack melanin, their pin feathers are invisible when plucked, providing a visually flawless carcass for the traditional market. However, their color hides a genetic mechanism that demands maximum attention from the breeder. The pure white comes from the recessive white gene, which acts as a heavy biological mask that conceals other inferior colors or patterns lying dormant in their DNA. We're issuing a clear technical warning. You shouldn't use this white variety for sex-linked crosses, because that genetic mask will ruin your nesting precision and yield results that destroy the flock's viability. Physically, they maintain the breed standard of 8.5 pounds for roosters and 6.5 pounds for hens, with a deep silhouette ideal for fattening and egg-laying. Their wide stance and deep chest cavity accommodate an active respiratory system, allowing them to regulate their core temperature effectively during intense summer foraging. Their even temperament is legendary. They're friendly, calm birds that are easy to handle in confined backyard setups. They reach point of lay around the 5th month and kick off egg production with brown-toned eggs. They're tireless workers, laying over 220 eggs annually. Their maternal instinct remains strong, and they stand ready to go broody and raise traditional chicks without complications. With a productive lifespan that borders on a decade under optimal conditions, they accompany entire generations of farmers. Maintaining this line is an act of respect toward the foundational pillar that propelled modern poultry farming. Number 4. The purity of harmonic contrast, Columbian Wyandotte. Emerging from the need to merge Asian birds with American curves, this variant comes from the cross between white Wyandottes and Brahma roosters at the end of the 19th century. Their presentation dazzled in exhibitions, cementing their acceptance by the American Poultry Association in the year 1905. Their genetics present an astonishing pigment distribution, featuring a white body complemented by black feathers with white lacing on the neck and tail. The neck feathers exhibit that distinctive, thick contrast collar, which falls like a shield over the bird's shoulders and highlights an upright posture. Behind this beauty, the dominant silver gene predominates once again, and it operates with robust visual clarity. The silver gene represents an invaluable tool. The Columbian offers the cleanest base, so the chick down doesn't have blurry spots during sex-linked crosses with gold males, guaranteeing a rapid visual sexing process without invasive methods. They maintain the weight standard, with imposing roosters of 8.5 pounds and solid hens of 6.5 pounds. Their digestive tract processes fibrous pasture material with high efficiency, turning everyday forage into dense bone mass. They stand out for their curious, alert attitude and amazing docility. They'll adapt to mixed flocks without stress and forage intensely. They reach sexual maturity past 24 weeks with a vigorous, productive start. The nests receive generous-sized eggs with a deep brown shell, surpassing 200 eggs annually. The brooding instinct runs deep in their veins. They're protective mothers that guide their chicks with authority. They enjoy remarkable longevity, exceeding 7 years of productive life. Preserving the Columbian pattern means guarding a visual equilibrium, honoring the intelligence of the old-time breeders. Number 5. The mastery of the complex pattern, Partridge Wyandotte. Creating this variant required mixing partridge-patterned cochin hens with primitive Wyandotte bloodlines, transferring the majesty of that plumage to a curved body free of feathers on the shanks. The arduous work of several decades achieved its reward with the entry into the American Poultry Association in the year 1889. This pattern demands mastering the difficult triple concentric lacing in the hens, a rustic lattice over a mahogany brown background that requires a gold gene base interacting with pigment modifiers. The males, on the other hand, don't exhibit the concentric lacing. Instead, they show off a solid emerald black breast contrasting with bright red backs, demonstrating a fascinating sexual dimorphism in the yard. Achieving this perfect pattern represents immense pride for a breeder. Their dark colors provide an unbeatable cryptic natural camouflage, which allows the flock to evade predators while foraging in the shade of the trees. They reach the muscular metrics of the breed, with foundation roosters of 8.5 pounds and adult hens at 6.5 pounds. The robust cardiovascular system of these birds ensures steady egg production even when winter temperatures drop. They have a serene and reliable temperament, which facilitates daily handling and harmonious coexistence on the family farm. They reach sexual maturity and start laying around the 6th month. They yield close to 180 to 200 brown-toned eggs throughout the year. The natural propensity for broodiness is marked. They settle in the nest and take on traditional rearing with exceptional care. They live with enormous vitality up to 8 years and offer the producer a constant companionship. Working with this line is a direct commitment to the art of genetics, connecting entire generations with pure field poultry farming. Number 6. The masterpiece of silver penciling, Penciled Wyandotte. Developing this variant demanded genetic precision. They crossed silver Hamburg hens with dark Brahma roosters to transfer a striated pattern onto a robust body without shank feathers. After strict culling, they achieved official acceptance by the American Poultry Association in 1902. Their genetics combine the dominant silver gene with pigment organizers that draw triple concentric lacing on every feather of the hen. The males exhibit a solid emerald black breast under a brilliant silver topcoat on the hackle, which creates absolute visual dimorphism in the pens. The silver gene represents an indispensable biological tool for our community of dedicated breeders. This variety brings a unique grayish lacing of maximum aesthetic value for the exhibition yard and allows infallible sex-linked crosses with gold males. Upon hatching, the down reveals the sex immediately and guarantees nest control without stressful handling. These birds reach the heavy standard with roosters tipping the scales at 8.5 pounds and hens of 6.5 pounds. Their rustic temperament facilitates a peaceful coexistence with other breeds and stands out for an outstanding visual acuity, acting as an organic radar during pasturing. They reach point of lay at 24 weeks, locking in a laying cycle that exceeds 180 brown-shelled eggs annually. They retain a strong maternal instinct and go broody with ease to incubate with extreme dedication. They surpass 7 years of productive longevity in well-managed pastures. Keeping this line perpetuates a living legacy of meticulous selection and delivers a tangible testimony of traditional poultry farming to new generations. Number 7. The Blue Mirage of the Yard, Blue Wyandotte. Initial attempts arose from crossing black and white birds, but perfection arrived by introducing the specific dilution factor. This hard work culminated in its recognition by the American Poultry Association in 1977. The color of its plumage is a pearl gray canvas, a direct product of the Andalusian gene, an incomplete dominant gene that alters the distribution of black melanin in the feather structure. This biological mechanism turns breeding this variety into a mathematical puzzle that fascinates experienced preservationists. Mastering Mendelian laws becomes mandatory to work this pure line. When crossing a blue bird with another blue, the offspring yields an unbreakable mathematical proportion. 50% of chicks will hatch blue, 25% will be pure black, and the final 25% will hatch with the splash pattern. This genetic puzzle forces the producer to plan their pairings with tactical foresight. They boast that classic meaty conformation, with roosters hitting 8.5 pounds and hens at 6.5 pounds. They're calm and confident, interacting with the breeder without being flighty. They enter their reproductive stage at 6 months of age. They fill the nest boxes with over 200 light brown eggs each season. The desire to incubate surfaces through pure instinct, showing a formidable protective drive when guiding their young through the field. They accompany the producer for more than 8 years and maintain their vitality intact. Raising this blue variant represents a tribute to hereditary science and protects a true biological treasure. Number 8. The Fire Framed in Storm, Blue Laced Red Wyandotte. This dazzling pattern stems from the ambition to merge the deep mahogany tone with bluish-gray lacing. Pioneers crossed golden laced lines with birds carrying the blue gene, stabilizing the color after decades of selective crosses. Even though they lack official American Poultry Association recognition, we conservation breeders value this variety as the ultimate testament to genetic mastery. The genetics superimpose the base gold gene with the Andalusian dilution factor to create an intense red center surrounded by bluish lacing, substituting the original black eumelanin and achieving an unparalleled visual aesthetic in the pasture. The hereditary math of the Andalusian gene dictates the rules of the game in this variety. Crossing two blue-laced red specimens produces the same strict Mendelian segregation. 50% will hatch with the desired blue lacing, 25% will display solid black lacing, and the final 25% will show faded splash lacing. Understanding this dynamic transforms the enthusiast into a genetic strategist. Morphologically, the males reach 8.5 pounds of pure muscle, while hens build a solid 6.5-pound frame, boasting an alert character that's excellent for detecting predators. These birds reach sexual maturity past 24 weeks of age, laying an average of 180 brown eggs per year with thick, resilient shells. Furthermore, their marked propensity for broodiness ensures healthy clutches, since the mothers shelter their chicks with touching dedication right from the first pip. They have a life expectancy that surpasses 7 years under proper prophylactic management. Owning this pattern demands mastery in pen selection and demonstrates the breeder's capacity to mold authentic biological masterpieces. Number 9. The Imposing Shadow of the Pasture, Black Wyandotte. The foundational lines emerged as melanistic mutations in silver flocks, perfected through outside dark blood to fix the tone. Pioneers consolidated these robust genetics and obtained the official stamp of the American Poultry Association in 1893. The plumage owes its depth to the dominant extension gene, which saturates every feather with pure melanin from the follicular root right to the tip. Under the sunlight, this pigment concentration refracts the light and generates a beetle green iridescent shine that defines the quality of the specimen, which contrasts against the yellow of their featherless shanks. This black plumage acts as a biological furnace that absorbs solar radiation, optimizing winter thermoregulation. Their metabolism transforms fibrous forage into dense muscle mass with absolute efficiency, so they develop wide roosters of 8.5 pounds and compact hens of 6.5 pounds. They're highly independent birds, tireless foragers that'll constantly clear your pastures of insects. This natural autonomy reduces overall feeding costs and directly benefits the farm's bottom line. They reach sexual maturity at an early age and kick off their laying cycle at 5 months. They provide over 210 eggs annually and deliver vibrant brown shells. Their maternal instinct is undeniable. They settle into the nest with firmness and care for the chicks with absolute drive against strange presences. They enjoy extended longevity and surpass the decade mark in life with enviable health. Maintaining this black variant guarantees a reserve of hybrid vigor and ancestral hardiness. Number 10. The rustic icon of endurance, Buff Wyandotte. The need for a robust dual-purpose bird with a warm and uniform tone led 19th century farmers to cross the Wyandotte base with buff cochin lines. They selected strictly to eradicate any black or white feathers, achieving the structural purity necessary for acceptance by the American Poultry Association in 1893. The resulting color demands a highly specific genetic composition, where modifiers act upon the base gold gene to dilute the dark red into a toasted yellow tone. This color must be uniform from the tip of the feather down to the fluff touching the skin. This golden mantle offers an invaluable tactical advantage in dry autumn pastures, since it camouflages the birds from the sight of raptors during active foraging. They maintain the classic physical proportions of the breed, with roosters of 8.5 pounds and broad-chested hens of 6.5 pounds. Their reliable docility makes them a favorite among backyard breeders, as they effortlessly handle routine checks without stressing out. This tameness facilitates routine health checks in the pen and reduces hierarchy fights within the flock. They start production after reaching 24 weeks of age. Their yield translates to 200 large-sized eggs per year with a deep toasted brown shell. Their strong brooding instinct is one of their greatest virtues. They're noble mothers that guide the brood with soft sounds and constant protection under their wings. Their life cycle averages 8 years of hardiness. Preserving this plumage ensures the continuity of a docile lineage, an unshakable pillar of historic homesteads. Number 11. The homogeneous canvas of heritage, Lavender Wyandotte. The development of this silvery gray plumage didn't arise from unstable Andalusian dilutions, but from isolating a pure recessive mutation that traditional breeders fixed after years of rigorous selection in the pens. Even though it isn't officially recognized by the American Poultry Association, the conservation community gives it a place of honor for its visual purity and the genetic challenge it brings. Their biological map is governed by the recessive lavender gene, a factor demanding both parents carry the mutation so the offspring manifests that homogeneous color, remaining entirely free of spots or splashing in their plumage. This master cross eliminates color dispersion in the nest and allows the passionate breeder to predict their hatches with absolute scientific certainty, establishing pure lines of imposing beauty. Physically, these birds meet the muscular demands and heavy standard of the Wyandotte family, featuring imposing roosters of 8.5 pounds alongside rounded hens of 6.5 pounds. They've got a balanced yet alert character, backed by an outstanding foraging vigor that lets them dominate free-ranging and shrug off adverse climates with superior hardiness. The hens reach point of lay early on at 24 weeks of age, laying 200 brown-shelled eggs annually and maintaining a steady rhythm even under low winter temperatures. Their maternal instinct flows with natural biological force. They go broody with determination, fiercely protecting their nests and defending their chicks against any countryside threat. They have a life expectancy that exceeds 7 years in the yard and serve as strategic assets in your farm's breeding program. Preserving the lavender variety demonstrates absolute mastery of applied biology. Mastering poultry genetics separates the simple amateur from the true preservationist. Knowing the biology and the genetics of the Wyandotte breed gives you absolute control over the vigor of your homestead. The traditional poultry path demands patience, rigor, and respect for the natural laws of the nest. Defend the genetic legacy. Let me know down in the comments which of these varieties makes the most sense for your setup. If you got some value out of this breakdown, hit that subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up so we can keep bringing you practical poultry advice. To your success, fellow breeder. Until next time.